one of the very important part of the work of Intergraf is obviously being the bridge toward the European legislation, understanding what's going on, influence it when it's possible. And one of the women that has been actually very active in especially the sustainability, environmental kind of thing with the legislation for many years is Laetitia, right?
Hi. Hi, Morten. Good to see you too.
As I said to you before, your presentation was even funny. Was that intentionally or?
Well, I just try to make it accessible. Yeah. And after lunch, obviously, you have to be a bit...
Because it is a complex topic to talk about, right?
Yes, the three topics that I have decided to talk about are complex, and European legislation is generally complex. So yeah, that's part of the job to make it a bit more simple and accessible and digestible for printers.
And you started your presentation showing a couple of pictures of, and then people should guess whether it was packaging or not packaging, right? So if you have a banana, is the peeling, is that like packages or no?
It is not packaging.
But if you have a sticker on it,
but
that's packaging.
The printed sticker is packaging, indeed.
Even for specialists like you, is it sometimes a little weird?
Sorry?
Even for specialists like yourself, is it sometimes a little weird how they got to...
Absolutely, it is weird, and sometimes it is a political decision, so it does not actually make sense, but we all have to make sense out of this legislation, indeed.
One of the things that I also must say that I admire your work with is that when you look at something that is only fully implemented in 2040, that's a time horizon where so many things in the world can change, right? So even that you have to start looking into the consequences for our industry now, yes. It can even change, right?
It can, absolutely. The legislator has the tool to adapt a little bit, but at the same time, for certain requirements, this time frame is necessary. Industry needs the time to adapt and to invest, possibly. So I think that's not too realistic. I mean, all companies have more challenges now in adapting to the current forthcoming legislation with short deadlines, like PPWR or EUDR, than really being concerned about long time frame, because I think that's what the industry needs, especially in terms of be compliant with sustainability legislation.
I follow EU Made Simple and TLDR as two YouTube channels, also talking about legislation in the European Union. And when I listen to the more generic, that's not to the printing industry, but when I listen to it, it seems that on one side, the European Union and both the Parliament and commissioners wants to have a simpler, easier European Union. But at the same time, when you talk about legislation, it seems more and more requirements put on businesses and people, right? How do that align?
I think there's currently a trend into simplification, indeed.
So you see that also from your side? We
see it currently with the current political majority. Yes, there's a goal to achieve simplification for businesses. What we are dealing right now is legislation that has been adopted under the EU Green Deal, you may remember, and it has been adopted a couple of years ago and has to be now implemented, and that is the challenge.
And that is, of course, like ordinary people, and from the outside, you not always understand that it's the timing process is very long within such a big organization, right? So
absolutely.
So basically, what you say is that what you talked about today is something that was decided years ago, and now it's going to be implemented. But what the legislation that is being discussed today is to simplify more and more.
Currently, it is to simplify, absolutely. Simplify at least environmental requirements for businesses, in particular for smaller businesses. But yeah.
But that can also create an unhealthy, skewed competition for the small companies versus the bigger ones, right? Because sometimes you see, because there can be an incentive to have many small companies, right?
Yes. Yes.
And that's not good. So I'm just trying to understand that. It's also what you see from time to time, or?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Yeah, so you see the incentive of having small companies. So even the big ones could like to, okay, we split them up.
We see it clearly now with PPWR, indeed, that there is this risk that customers could potentially create smaller entities so that the burden is on the supplier. This is absolutely something that we are fearing.
Last question, because we have the last session about security right now. As Intergraf, do you also feel that you have a voice when you're introduced to all this legislation and you talk to, let's say, the politicians and that? Do they also listen to what you say?
It depends.
It depends.
So they may, if really it is on printing. Obviously, we are the only stakeholder, but we tend to work a lot with our partners in the value chain, depending on the topic. It could be the customer, it could be the supplier, it could be both. It could be also other industry associations. And for a small association like Intergraf, it is very key to work together with other stakeholders. Just have to understand well the positioning of the different stakeholders, and that's how you basically manage to really work together if you know well your partners.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin.
Good talking to you.
Thank you.